It's been rough for everyone across board. Phrases like tightening your belt, cut your coat according to your cloth, find alternatives that are cost-effective have become rampant among all of us. On the one hand, it's difficult to adjust, but I personally like the discipline these hard times are instilling in all of us. But that's a topic for another day. Today on Dateline Abuja, we are looking at you. How are you coping with the high cost of everything? We caught up with some residents of the Federal Capital Territory and we'll show you what they said to us in our focus on the FCT. Meanwhile, there are calls for interventions from the government in all sectors, whether they are palliatives, job opportunities, or incentives for business owners. Anything to make things easier economically for the Nigerian. And my guest is no stranger to the concept of job creation and incentives for business owners in times of economic crisis. We also have an update of the major stories from Nigeria's presidency. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. Let's kick off with that update. What are the major stories from Nigeria's seat of power? Please watch this.
President Bola Tinubu has asked party members to work towards free and fair elections in the forthcoming governorship elections in Imo, Bayelsa and Kogi State. The president said this after handing party flags to the candidates of the All Progressive Congress for the election at a ceremony in the presidential villa.
We are all taking the crusade for democracy, in particular in this time of season election, and it is our hope. Among you is a hope. So, we believe you always come victorious.
The Federal Executive Council has approved a 2023 supplementary budget of 2.1 trillion naira, which is to fund urgent issues. Speaking after the council meeting, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Mr. Atiku Bagudu, says the budget includes allocations to maintain the previous progress on national security and agriculture. The budget will also cover 4 months of the provisional wage increment for federal government workers and for the student loan fund. The Nigerian Police has confirmed Mr. Kaude Egbetokun as the substantive Inspector General of Police. This was disclosed to correspondents after the Nigerian Police Council meeting held at the Presidential Villa Abuja, chaired by President Bola Tinubu. Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State added that President Tinubu intervened in the political and security situation unfolded in Rivers State.
We had a closed session, if you recall, members of the press, where a very serious national issue was discussed that has security implication. That is the problem emerging in Rivers. The president, in his usual leadership position, intervened, and then it would appear there will be peace in that respect.
Don't be a clog in the wheel of Nigeria's progress. These were the words of President Bola Tinubu to his cabinet members at the 2023 cabinet retreat taking place in the State House Conference Center, Abuja. The president also made it clear that he's determined to succeed and encouraged his team to come up with homegrown solutions to the challenges facing the country.
The bold endeavor is only achieved through courage, determination, and focused leadership. We are going through the reform painfully, and we still have other challenges. Don't be a clog in the wheel of Nigerian progress. Let us look forward. Let us be determined that corruption will go, progress will be achieved, better wages for our workers, living wages.
Amidst the political crisis in Rivers State, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, says he's uninterested in the state's governance, but rather the political structure of the People's Democratic Party that seems to be threatened. The FCT Minister made the assertion during a custom visit by the Rivers State Caucus. The FCT Minister made the assertion during a custom visit by the Rivers State Caucus of the National Assembly at his office in Abuja while weighing on the political fray between him and Governor Siminalayi Fubara. He further explains that he would not intentionally take actions that would jeopardize the stability in Rivers State, and all reports projecting him otherwise should be discarded.
I'm not interested. I'm here sitting as a governor. All the functions I have. But I'm interested in the political structure of River State, which we have built for years. If anybody dares to begin to bring it down, the person will face the crisis in once in his life. Yes. I'm not interested in the 25% for the 5 billion issue. I mean, what kind of petty. Impeachment is not rally. Impeachment is about law and what? Facts.
The People's Democratic Party (PDP) Governors Forum has initiated a reconciliation process with the former governor of River State, Mr. Nyesom Wike, who has been at loggerhead with the party following its disagreement with the emergence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as the party's 2023 presidential candidate. The chairman of the forum, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, led a delegation comprising Governor Umaru Fintiri of Adamawa State, Governor Caleb Muftuang of Plateau, and Governor Kefas Agbo of Taraba State to the meeting with Mr. Wike, who is currently the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. The governors also appealed to Mr. Wike to end the feud between him and Governor Similaye Fubara of River State.
Because of his maturity and leadership, and indeed the intervention of Mr. President, this towering crisis appeared to be nipped in the bud. We really appreciate Mr. President and Nyesom Wike. And we are proud that he's still one of us. So long as he's still with us, we are with him. And because we know it is a family problem, it is resolved in the way that we least expected. We thank you and we continue to urge you to continue to be a mentor.
The Senate has administered the oath of office on Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan as the first female senator from Kogi State, representing Kogi Central Senatorial District in the 10th Senate. The administration of oath of office by the clerk of the Senate comes after she was declared winner of the February 26 Kogi Central Senatorial election by the appeal court. Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan, who is from the People's Democratic Party, challenged the declaration of Senator Abubakar Ohere of the All Progressive Congress (APC) by INEC as the winner of the February 26 senatorial election in Kogi Central. The Senate has approved the nomination of Mr. Zaccheaus Adedeji as chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, the FIRS. The approval comes after he was screened by lawmakers. Mr. Adedeji used the opportunity to speak on his plans to improve the nation's revenue. President Bola Tinubu had written to the Senate for the expeditious consideration of the confirmation of his appointment. Mr. Adedeji promised to develop an efficient data system and halt leakages in the oil and gas sector. The 2.17 trillion 2023 supplementary budget submitted to the National Assembly has scaled second reading. President Bola Tinubu also submitted the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework to the National Assembly for consideration. In a letter to the lawmakers, President Tinubu explains that the supplementary budget becomes necessary for additional palliative measures, including wage awards.
Welcome back. While many Nigerians are coming to terms with the new norm, which basically is the reality that the cost of all goods and services across board have increased thanks to the removal of fuel subsidy, the biting reality is that Nigerians are experiencing a decline in their quality of life as palliatives to cushion the impact of the subsidy removal and the infrastructure necessary for this new expensive way of life is still lacking. In our focus on the nation's capital, we caught up with residents of the FCT who are calling for government interventions as they await the promised benefits of the subsidy removal while trying to survive in an extremely difficult economy. Please watch this. As the sun rises across the Jabi Lake in Abuja, one can't help but realize that the gift of life itself is enough to be grateful for. Life, as we say in Nigeria, is for the living. The fact that things are hard is not lost on these citizens of the FCT, keeping fit and ensuring the rigors of daily life and the removal of fuel subsidy, which has impacted the cost of everything in the country, does not stop them from lifestyles they've cultivated over the years.
Everybody knows it's going to be tough, but we don't expect it to be this hard. Things, transportation, like me now I'm coming from Suleja all the way to here. I know what transportation is telling me. If I'm not spending, I'm spending up to, let me say, go and come. Before, sometimes I'm spending up to 1,000 naira only. Now I'm spending up to 3,000 naira. Go and come. Sometimes more than, depends on the location I'm going to. So now if I'm going and coming, spending up to 3,000, I'm not able to make 3,000 a day. How am I going to survive? It's quite very tough.
I went to market, day market with 50,000. Babe, I just carried the full stock like this. Because if you want to talk to them or ask them why, this is the full issue. We didn't expect it. Normally, I used to come from my house here, just Jabi to Jabi. I used to come here like maybe 700 naira, but now I pay like 1,500. Going back, it's like almost 2,000 is a lot. So if you don't have a job, you can't keep up this lifestyle. The number two, if you don't have a steady income, you can't even live the way you used to live before. So it's a lot.
The monumental increase in the cost of living is biting hard on these workers who have not experienced a corresponding hike in salaries.
They are not only punishing me, they are punishing my great-great-grandmothers in the village that cannot work.
You mean bring it back?
Let them return it to where it was before. They know where our problem is. Let them go and address it.
Do you know rent is up? Do you know the basic transportation you need is up? Everything is gone like 40-50% and more.
We need an intervention because the whole place is already corrupt. And people will, they will stand on this as an opportunity to be more corrupt.
No provision is there for fuel subsidy. The fuel subsidy is gone.
These words from the president came with mixed feelings. Relief that the fuel subsidy regime, which many believe to be corrupt, was over, and fears that the money saved will not be put to proper use. And even if it is, it will take time to produce the desired results, a better quality of life for all Nigerians. So the waiting game begins, and while Nigerians wait, the economic impact of the rise in the cost of everything following the fuel subsidy removal bites hard on all sectors. Take these transporters at the popular Utaku Park, for instance.
Going to Kano alone, vehicle will buy fuel of 60,000 naira. Kaduna alone, driver will now go and come back. A fuel of go and come 60,000. Kano Kuma, if you want to go and come, that's 120,000. So when you look at the money, you can see the driver will collect money from the passenger, and the passengers too are complaining.
Marketers are also feeling the pinch.
Most of the things we have in these shops are imported, but if we start producing some of these things in this country, it will help the economy.
Some economic experts oppose the concept of palliatives for the Nigerian people.
What are those drivers of our inflation rate? What are those things that are making it to grow? We have to identify them, and there are many of them that we already know about. The exchange rate is one of them. The insecurity is another. The cost of electricity and cost of petroleum product is another.
The Nigerian Labour Congress is still in an impasse with the federal government on agreements they say needed to be signed before removing fuel subsidy.
The strike is an effect of a policy that doesn't have human face. There was no strike before the issue of removal of fuel subsidy and promises. In fact, it was the government that said, ask for palliative, ask for wage. And we have asked for it, and we couldn't get any.
With an inflation rate of 24.08%, a debt profile hitting 77 trillion naira, and an unemployment rate expected to hit 40.6% this year, Nigerians are already experiencing hard times, and the removal of fuel subsidy has made life a lot more difficult. But it is a difficulty many Nigerians hope will pass, as promised by the President Bola Tinubu administration, who has repeatedly stated that he understands the plight of the Nigerian. For now, Nigerians hold on to hope, waiting on intervention programs from the government and praying that the money saved from the removal of fuel subsidy will be put into other sectors that will make life better for the Nigerian. My guest on the program is Mr. Temitola Adekunle Johnson, the Senior Special Assistant to President Bola Tinubu on Job Creation and MSMEs. He served in a similar capacity under the Buhari administration, and we remember all the MSME hubs and intervention programs initiated by his office across the country. Well, he's been rehired by the Tinubu administration. And if there was ever a time the nation needed interventions and MSME incentives, now is the time. What is he going to be doing differently this time? What should small businesses look forward to? This unemployment rate expected to surpass 40% by the end of 2023. What can be done to keep young people engaged and making money at a time when everything is hard? Please watch this. Mr. Tola Johnson, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you very much, Kela.
I think congratulations are in place.
Thank you once again. I feel privileged.
You have been reappointed to handle MSMEs and job creation, as you were handling under the President Buhari administration. At the time, you had said that there were plans to continue a lot of those projects. Is that what this is? An attempt of the Tinubu administration to continue these projects and interventions that were supposed to cushion the impact of Nigeria's economic realities on its people?
Well, I think let me start by thanking the president. The fact that I'm here, he didn't just reappoint me, he promoted me and gave me double portfolios. Under President Buhari, I was just a special assistant on MSMEs. President Tinubu has appointed me as the senior special assistant on job creation and MSMEs. So those are two very important portfolios. And the president and the vice president obviously looked at a number of activities under the last government. They looked at a number of projects that they were keen on continuing. So apparently that is obviously what informed my reappointment. So the tie is on me not to disappoint the nation, myself, and the confidence that the president and VP have in me.
I mean, there's a lot of marching orders from the president while we listen to him today, talking about delivering on the job. Let's talk a bit about the reality that we're facing as Nigerians. The economic realities are crazy. We're listening to people on the street barely able to survive. And many people are tying it to that announcement, the removal of fuel subsidy. All of the drama around it aside, the economic realities that the Nigerian is struggling at this point in time. When it comes to MSMEs, we see a lot of businesses folding up. The unemployment rate in the country is projected to be above 40% in the next few months. How is the president going to handle the situation? We've heard him talk to the people and talk about all the things that he's going to do. But with your office handling job creation and MSMEs, what's in place right now for those businesses that are struggling right now?
Okay, so my portfolio is directly domiciled in the vice president's office, but regardless, the bulk stops at the desk of Mr. President. So what I'm sure of, what I'm certain, being in meetings with my boss, whether Mr. President or Mr. Vice President, is that they are both keen on trying to improve the business activities of small businesses. I want to ensure that DFIs, federal government DFIs, can give out loans to SMEs at single digits. Whatever it is that we need to do as a government to ensure that this happens, we are having that discussion and making sure that this is possible and at a scale. So if you have 36.9 million SMEs in Nigeria, prior to COVID, we used to have 46.5. Prior to COVID, we used to have 44.5. Now, if we are having 36.9, it means that because of COVID, as it did all over the world, a lot of businesses went down, shut down as a result of COVID. And it's not peculiar to Nigeria. It's happened all over the world. So we're saying that those 36.9 million businesses, the president wants to ensure that they can walk into banks and collect facilities at quick rate and at good tenor. And they're able to repay. So we're trying to see how we can support those entities, such as those federal government entities, to ensure that they're able to do this. One thing is that the issue of collateral is being looked at, and we need to try and simplify it a bit more so that you can walk in. Maybe, for instance, you go to a portal, put in your application, there's an approval, you walk in, have the kind of discussions you need to have with the banks, and in a few days, not weeks, not months, a few days, whatever money you need to improve your business, to expand your business, is disbursed to you.
I mean, you've talked quite extensively about a lot of things. I want to be able to draw a parallel between what it was like handling MSMEs under the Buhari administration and what it's going to be like handling MSMEs under the Tinubu administration. Now, based on the few of the things that we've talked about over the years that we've known each other, there's a lot of shared facilities, hubs that were created. I remember the Aba hub that was done at the time. I also remember the leather industry. We even visited a few, just so we could see this business, and the testimonials at the time were so great. But the indices at the time are so much more different from the indices that those businesses have to face right now.
The issue of single digits and the issue of expanded MSME clinics, just like we had it under the Buhari regime. Now we want to have clinics where there will be private sector coming along with His Excellency, Mr. Vice President, as we go for any of those clinics. In short, as we speak, two have been scheduled. Once the governors and the villa conclude discussions, this will be made public. So we have private sector that are coming with on such clinics, and they will now be state specific. For instance, if we are going to a state like, let's use a state like Jigawa, and if Jigawa is known to be more of an agricultural state, our clinics will be centered on agriculture. It doesn't mean that people from the creative industry will not come in, but we'll have like 80% agricultural displays over there. They will have like the Minister for Agriculture. We'll have people in the agricultural industry, investors in that agricultural industry, who will come in and go on the exhibition with His Excellency. Because there are times when people see products and they are interested in investing in those businesses for a stake. So if I'm just exhibiting and you come in and you see my products and I need 10 million, for instance, and you say, listen, why don't you give me a stake of 10% in your business, and I'm willing to invest 20 million. So there and there, we are going to be having mutually beneficial discussions, both to the MSMEs and to the investors, and for the shared facilities. People often complain of not knowing of these activities of government. Yes,
I was actually going to say that, because many people say, okay, we see it on Twitter.
Correct.
We hear that there is some kind of government intervention, and of course, of my personal experience with it. I had to tell somebody, look, try, and the person was able to benefit from it. The communication as to what's available to MSMEs and to people who are looking for jobs, especially in the private sector, how is that communication going to be made, rampant enough for people to always know exactly what to do? I remember in the past, there used to be songs, jingles and all whatnot, made easy for us to know that this is available for you. Is that going to be done right now? Are we going to see that?
So our strategic comms, we'll take it very seriously. It will be very, very strategic with our communication this time around. We need to ensure that whatever it is that we're doing that will positively affect the lives of businesses must be communicated to the MSMEs, in short, to the nation at large, in different languages that is understandable to them. So we'll be working with the likes of Smedan. For instance, there's nothing we'll be doing in the presidency that the Smedan will not be carried along. So we'll be working with Smedan and NASME and the rest of them. We'll ensure that we'll have quarterly media briefings to tell the country what we're doing. We'll digitalize some of these things. There'll be portals, and we'll have brand ambassadors for some of these things.
Well, I want to thank you very much for making out the time to speak with us, Mr. Tolo Johnson. Congratulations again. And good luck with all the work you have ahead of you.
Thank you, Kela.
Thanks to my guest, Mr. Temitola Adekunle Johnson, and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. Small businesses need all the help they can get. And to be fair, the federal government is reaching out to a lot of them. What you may not know is that there are actual target number of businesses to reach with all kinds of interventions and a termination period for these interventions. So keep your ears to the ground and ensure you get what you are due. Meanwhile, there are people thriving in these hard times, not just surviving, thriving. Everywhere is hard, but the one who doesn't try at all will not survive. So don't stew in the outrage. Don't spend all your time complaining. Find a way to thrive through legal means. They exist. That's Dateline Abuja this week. Please let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing right now on your screen. Thank you so much for watching. I am Kayla Megwa.